to opposing Measure 91, our legalization initiative. Now, two of his go-to scare lines are the tales of Levi Tamba, the 19-year-old exchange student who ate an entire marijuana-infused cookie and leaped to his death from a hotel balcony, and Maureen Dowd, the liberal New York Times columnist who was couch-locked by a marijuana-infused chocolate bar. Savette claims, quote, "The response of the industry was to say, oh, see, she was supposed to cut that chocolate bar into 16 pieces and just eat one of them. Folks, I don't know about how you eat chocolate, but that's not how the way I would eat it." End quote. Yes, Kevin, that's readily apparent by your expanding waistline. Former Normal director Richard Cowens came up with an iron law of prohibition. And what the iron law of prohibition states is that the more strictly a prohibition is enforced, the more potent the drug becomes. Now, during alcohol prohibition, a smuggler had a choice. You can fill the trunk of the Studebaker with cases of beer, or you can fill the trunk of the Studebaker with cases of whiskey. You get busted with either of them, you're going to go to prison. So why not smuggle the whiskey that earns more profit? Once prohibition was lifted, the first intoxicating liquors allowed by law were lower proof beer and wine. And then later, the harder stuff became slowly legal again. And then later still, we got the right to home brew back and so forth. But with marijuana, we've had a strange path to legalization that arose through medical marijuana. And patients confound the iron law of prohibition because their need for potent products doesn't arise from scarcity so much as desperation. They need the most potent products whether it's legal or not because it's their medicine. And weaker products aren't really going to relieve their conditions. So, unlike the end of 20th century prohibition on alcohol, where newly legal drinkers were drinking 3-2 beer, at the end of 21st century prohibition, newly legal cannabis consumers are exposed to the highest potency medical marijuana products ever created. And so, yeah, you're going to get stories like Levi Tamba jumping off a hotel or Maureen Dowd in a fetal position in the hotel bed, just like we would have gotten horror stories about alcohol poisonings if the minute prohibition was lifted, the only thing available was Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. But legality is finally moving consumer marijuana products back to a wider range of potency, including new products that are designed specifically for the novice marijuana consumer. About a year ago, I think, I was at an event in Denver, and this company had this pre-rolled tin of cigarettes. You know, really nice little tin, hold 10 marijuana cigarettes in it. And the brand was called Sitka, like Sitka, Alaska, right? And they had various flavors and types, right? But the thing I noticed is they were highlighting the Sitka brand that was a 3.5% THC potency. 3.5%. You know, Kevin Savette likes to joke that, well, today's marijuana is not the relatively mild Woodstock weed that our parents and grandparents smoked in the 60s and 70s. Well, yeah, it is. These new Sitka joints are actually the Woodstock weed. 3-4% THC. And that's because a lot of consumers now that are jumping into this newly regulated market, smoked back in the day, now their kids are out of the house, they want to get back into it. They don't want to get bombed out of their minds. They just want something that's nice and relaxing. The same reason they don't want to chug Jack Daniels and they'd rather have a sip of Chardonnay. And ABC News just did a story on the rookie cookies. I think this is the best development ever. Colorado manufacturers now are stocking their shops with some milder THC products. And this is because they found that the edibles are incredibly popular. Nobody could have imagined how much more popular newly legal consumers would want edibles more so than like smoking a joint. But, there's nowhere to smoke it. You're not allowed to smoke openly. Smoking's been denigrated in this society. And so a lot of people turning back to marijuana remember the tales of the old pot brownies and think, well, that's what I'll try. So this rookie cookie thing is an entire cookie with just 10 milligrams of THC in it. That's just one serving dose compared to the 65 milligrams that was in Levi Tamba's cookie. And according to ABC News, they say, quote, "That's a low enough dose that most adults wouldn't be too impaired to drive a car," end quote. So they're figuring that a 10 milligram THC dose you're not going to have over 5 nanograms in your blood, which is the presumptive limit in Colorado. And you may have heard of Dixie Elixirs. Dixie Elixirs makes a line of these sodas that you can get. Kevin Sabet likes to use those in his presentation as well, denigrate like, why would any adult ever want a grape soda? I like grape soda. But anyway, Dixie Elixirs, they make their bottles usually with 75 milligrams of THC. They're now distributing a rookie brand. It's called Dixie One. And the entire bottle just has 5 milligrams of THC in it. And the dispensary owners are saying that these new lighter products are flying off the shelves. And Tim Cullen, one of the owner of 2 Denver area dispensaries, said, quote, "We still get people walking in here saying, what's the strongest thing? But more and more they're asking about flavor, the experience, the whole 9 yards. And that's what legalization does for us, folks. It gives us variety."
You're a loony.
Maybe. But that's the thing, man. When it's illegal, you just got to get the most bang for your buck. And the only way you can brand your marijuana is, I got the baddest shit, man. It's the diggitiest dank, man. But now that we can comparison shop and shop online, we can compare based on other factors like taste, aroma,